What is going on with y'all YouTube? It's your boy Blue J Tay, and I am back again with another video. And today's video is going to be slightly different, but pretty much what I'm going to be speaking about is how I almost ruined my 20s chasing the wrong thing. Okay, and just to give y'all a little insight, a little background for y'all who don't know me personally, I've never really been a bad guy, right? I ain't never really been the type to be in the mix, but where I've always fell short is in relationships or companions, I guess you can say. And for a long period of time, I didn't know how to properly love people. I was a very emotionally unavailable male. I didn't know how to properly express myself based on the way that I was raised. I lacked that form of expression, and I didn't know how to really treat women how they were supposed to be treated. And this positioned me to not necessarily know how to express myself in the ways that I should have while dealing with certain people. So in this video today, I'm just going to give you a little background, a little story time on how I almost ruined my 20s just chasing the wrong things. And those things were really just chasing the idea of love or chasing a companion. Your 20s, for the majority of us, they say that it should be for building. You want to make sure you're getting yourself financially stable. You want to make sure that you're working to be able to live the life that you want to live. Nobody wants to retire in their 40s or 50s, or at least I don't. I would like to be retired at like 30 so that I'm still young and I can still live my life. But what I spent a lot of my 20s focusing on up until the point where I realized that, I was either going to end up somewhere in jail or somewhere that I don't want to be, is just chasing women. Now, when I say chasing women, I don't mean that I'm out here thirsty or making, the wrong decisions, just trying to cling on to anything. But I just like the idea of love. I like the idea of having a companion. So mentally, in my mind, that is what I wanted. So, I wasn't against meeting new people. I wasn't against putting myself in a position to be loved. And you have to realize, you have to get to a point as a grown man where you understand that you're not where you need to be in life. You may not be financially stable. You may not have all the resources that you need to even properly cater to a woman. And that's exactly what happened to me. And then I realized, like, what am I genuinely doing with my time? Why am I spending all this time chasing something that is more than likely going to be willing to chase me once I become a reflection of a man that is healthy, a man that is financially stable, a man that's doing exactly what he should be doing with his life? So then I realized that I didn't have to chase women. I realized that I didn't have to position myself to be overly needy in terms of the idea of a relationship. But where I went wrong is the fact that I was just extremely toxic. I was dealing with somebody for a very long time. I'd probably say majority of my 20s, on and off. Occasionally we would try to take each other serious, then we'll go on breaks where we may not necessarily be talking for a while. And this lack of commitment always held me back, because you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out with somebody that you may genuinely love or care for. No matter what, if you're spending that much time with somebody, you're going to have feelings for them. So seeing them move on or potentially move on or deal with other people is going to constantly keep you in this state of just being emotional. It's not going to make you feel good deep down inside, no matter how tough, no matter how strong you are mentally. It's going to get to you, because there's going to be one day where you're vulnerable and something just hits you and it makes you snap. So for a big portion of my 20s, I used to be this very toxic person. But I guess you can say it was mutual, because it was never just a one-sided form of toxicity. I'm not really that type of person, but I used to do things like pull up unexpected. Like if she wouldn't text me back in time, or if I felt like something was going on and I had certain urges and rushes, I would just show up and be like, where you been at? Or I would create text freeze whenever they would block me and get angry and we'd want to argue and go back and forth. I would just do things like that. And I reached a point of, I guess you can say, this form of enlightenment when I understood that you are what you attract. And if you are indulging in something or entertaining the thought of something negative, that probably is a reflection of who you are deep down inside. So it really changed the way that I thought about that entire situation and what was going on. The last thing that you want to do is spend all of your 20s chasing something that is naturally going to come to you. That's the biggest takeaway of this video. I know a lot of men are out here chasing so many different things. A lot of them are chasing money, success, whatever the case may be. For me, it was slightly different. Yes, I want to be successful, and 100% that's what I'm chasing day in and day out. But if I had to make a conscious choice or a decision whether I wanted to be somewhere deeply in love, married with a family and kids, and financially stable, but not super, super wealthy, versus being super, super wealthy and having everything in this world that I may want, but I don't have a companion, I would 100% choose that family just because that's what I value. I believe that we're put on this earth to build, to start families, and to expand, who we are. And this just makes it a lot more complicated when you're not who you should be. So once I set the focus from trying to force or trying to chase these certain things, we already know the definition of chasing. Something has to be on a constant pursuit, but it's moving away from you. It's the chase. You haven't captured it because that's not what chasing is. And once I realized that, maybe if I just stopped right here and stopped chasing, poured into myself and became who I needed to be, maybe the roles will flip. Maybe the things that I desire so much will start to chase me and I'll start to attract them. They'll gravitate naturally towards me. And I feel like so many people don't understand this because they question their life. They question, the decisions that they're making on a daily basis. They question, even their partner, but they don't look inwards. They don't take the time to figure out what it is about them that reflects this life that they're living. And I feel like that's the question that could change so many people's lives. Once you look yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, I am the problem. Why is this occurring in my life? But if you're anybody like me, man, do not spend all of your 20s chasing the wrong things. Do not be out here chasing, women. Do not be out here chasing things that really do not hold no value. Now, I'm not saying if you're with somebody and you really want them to be your partner long term, and this is your person, that you shouldn't actively try to show that, but you want to just make sure that it's mutual. You definitely don't want to spend your time chasing somebody or something that is not for you or does not see the same hopes of you in their future as you may see for them. Life is way too short to spend it on things that really do not serve you a purpose, or people that do not serve you a purpose. And you realize this when you start losing family members, because people may go young, people may go old, but at the end of the day, there was one way out. And the very concept that they left and they are no longer here on this earth really showed me how important it is to just live your life and to just be happy and be thankful for the things that you have. I know that we want to be successful. I know that, a lot of us may want to be in love and may want to start a family, but that will all come in due time. What you can focus on is just living. The idea of existing. Take a moment to take a deep breath and just to be present and to be thankful, because you just never know when your time is going to come. And the crazy thing about any form of success or even love that you can be out here chasing, like I mentioned before, is that these things naturally come to you when you least expect. I don't know about y'all, but the things that I've always truly desired tend to come back around when I stop that form of desperation or that neediness for it. When I feel like I don't want it anymore. And this is especially, in terms of relationships, when you feel like you suddenly just stop caring or you just let go, is exactly when people circle back, or is exactly when you get the things that you thought that you would have never gotten. Let go of any expectation of the future. Work hard, position yourself to receive or attract the things that you want to attract, and then release it and let it go and allow life to take its course. But you don't want to keep yourself stressed out or be somebody like me who spent majority of his 20s chasing a person that, in all honesty, just wasn't on the same page as me. And that relationship itself taught me that love is never going to be enough. I used to think that just because you love somebody, just because you have that bond, that can get you through anything, but it goes way deeper than love. You need compatibility. You need to be able to communicate effectively, and just a bunch of other things that are 100% non-negotiable in a relationship, friendship, whatever. You have to make sure that you're on the same page as your partner. You have to make sure that you are genuinely compatible, not just have this sudden rush or urge and just this feeling of love, because it just will not last, because an incident will come up or something will come up unexpected. And if you guys can't properly communicate, how can you work and build through anything? There needs to be effective problem solution oriented type of mindset so that you guys can constantly make progress. And I know that this is a hard pill to swallow, because so many people feel like, okay, I love this person, so I just have to work with them. But You cannot be the only one pouring into a relationship. It's a mutual partnership, meaning that you need both parties in order to prosper or fully flourish in whatever it is that you have going on. And if that is not the case, like it was with mine, then it'll be very hard. It'll be that constant imbalance because things are just not how they're supposed to be. So just remember that as you go through your day to day, keep your mindset on the right things, lock in and focus on building your life. And I promise you, everything that you truly desire, you will attract in due time. But if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much. It's your boy Blue Jay Tay. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.